A college professor says he's sorry for ripping into Republicans during class. This after a student recorded Brent Terry's rant and posted it online. That student is here. But first, take a listen.
Racist, misogynist, money-grubbing people have so much power over the rest of us and want things to go back, not to 1955, but to 1855. There are a lot of people out there that say that do not want black people to vote, do not want Latinos to vote, do not want old people to vote, or young people to vote. Because generally, people like you are liberal. It's absolutely possible that the Republicans will take over the Senate as well as the House. And we will live in a very, very, very different kind of country if that happens. I mean, colleges will start closing up if these people are there.
Is this kind of bias happening at schools all across the country? We go to Jayson Veley, who recorded that rant, Ashley Pratt, who is with Young America's Foundation, and James Lewis with Young Democrats of America. Jayson, to you first, if I may. You were in that class. You recorded it. I want to know, what was the reaction of the other people in that room, the other students?
While he was going on this anti-Republican rant, if you will, the reaction of the other students, I was looking around while he was talking about this. From what I gather, there was really no reaction from any of the other students. They were just, sitting there, just taking notes, listening to what the professor had to say. There was really no outrage other than what I did.
Okay. Do you think that this kind of statement, this kind of bias, now this was particularly blatant, Jayson, but do you have any reason to believe that it's common across the country?
Absolutely, 100% yes, I do. I've, growing up through middle school, through high school, and even my freshman year of college, I have countless examples of this going on. I think this is a big, big problem that needs to be addressed as soon as possible.
James Lewis, a lot of people are telling me, look, this is fairly common. There is a liberal bias in the classroom of colleges in the United States. Will you deny that?
I would say that there's a bias on either direction. I've had conservative professors that have really challenged me and made me convinced that what I believe is what I believe. And I've had liberal professors that I disagreed with. I think at the end of the day, you're seeing college as a place for big ideas and that opportunity to exchange ideas with adults. College students are adults. They are expected to understand the world around them, learn about it, and expand
James,
their minds.
I
don't think this is a problem at all.
Look, I take your point, but the question is this kind of leftist bias common across the country? What do you say to that? Ashley, what's your answer?
Yeah, Stuart, I completely agree that 100% this is happening all across the country and college campuses nationwide. What ends up happening is when you have this whole movement for political correctness, it's only intensifying the need for this whole liberal culture to come out and really show their intolerance. And this is what's happening with professors. Students are being persecuted in some ways for their conservative values.
Okay. Should he be fired?
Yes, we just
I don't know whether he's tenured or not, but should he be fired?
Here's the thing, and the university came out with a statement and said that these things can happen in the classroom because teachers can say what they want. That is absolutely ridiculous. And at Young America's Foundation, we support free speech. We support students who believe in their conservative beliefs, and everyone's entitled to their free speech. But for a professor to make those kinds of statements to say that conservatives are racist and misogynist, that was just out of line.
Jayson, how did you know to record that? Are you with a conservative group, and that's why you recorded this specifically?
I didn't record it because I'm affiliated with any specific group. I was listening to what he had to say. It started with a poem, and then the poem was centered around the ideas of racial inequality, and then that quickly turned to a more political conversation on social justice. I didn't record this necessarily for any organization or anything like that because of something I'm affiliated with. I just recorded it because I felt the need that it should be, I felt like it should be documented. I felt very, very bullied. I felt like I was a victim for believing what I believe.
Well, do you think he should be fired?
I think that action should be taken to make sure that something like this never, ever happens again. I think the school needs to put measures in place that ensure that teachers can't get away with this anymore. I mean, this, again, is a huge, huge problem.
Okay. James Lewis, if a professor is an ardent conservative and makes blatant pro-conservative comments in the classroom, should he or she be fired?
No, as long as they have evidence to back it up and it's done in the best interest of expanding the students' minds.
This is not a factual-based argument. This is opinion.
as long as it is designed in a way that expands the student's mind. Professor Terry is a creative writing professor. He was talking about a poem that discusses social injustice in America. It's quite likely that that poem is designed to invoke those sorts of feelings. That's the type of person you want talking to young people, the type of person that says, whatever you believe, go out there and fight for it.
Ashley?
James, I cannot even believe that you would make that statement, seeing as he came out and said that conservatives are racist. Where is that rooted in fact? I would like to know the answer to that question, and for you to even make that statement is absurd.
I'm not defending his statements on racist or misogynistic. I'm simply saying that you want those type of passionate individuals when they're talking about a subject as subjective as art. Those are the type of people that should be leading the discussion, expanding our minds of young people in this country.
Okay, Jayson,
I'm a better person because of
Jayson,
conservative professors.
I just want to say really quick that this was not connected to the poem at all. This idea that he was trying to start a conversation in the class. You have this guy who's a creative writing professor, by the way, saying that if the Republicans win the Senate in November, colleges will start closing down. That is nothing to do with creative writing, nothing to do with this poem we were talking about.
But you're looking at a $74 million cut to Pell Grants under the Bryan budget.
Oh
okay,
my goodness.
hold on a second. Let's get to the key question here, and this is to Jayson and to Ashley. Ashley, to you first. Surely this is an absolute question about free speech. Is that professor free to say what he said in that classroom?
When it comes to that, I think that's where it gets a little tricky, Stuart. You definitely have the right to free speech, yes, but as a professor who's influencing young minds on college campuses, that is absolutely ludicrous for him in a creative writing class, not even on that topic, to
Jayson,
say those comments.
I've got to get to you. Absolute free speech issue, yes or no? Absolutely.
Look,
does he have that right?
I'm a firm believer in the Constitution and the First Amendment. I believe in the freedom of speech, but there has to be a line. I mean, the line has to be drawn somewhere. These professors can't just come into these classes and say whatever they want. There has to be limits.
All right.
These students are a captive audience.
All three of our guests, we thank you very much indeed for being with us. Thank you, one and all.
Thanks for
You
having
bet.
us.
Thank you.